What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to give you a nice little update and a working video on the r32 Ecoboost swap today. So real quick, in the last video we left off, I was going to do the drive shaft, the axles, fill the diff with fluid, finish up some wiring. All of that is complete. However, this axle on the driver's side, R32s, S13s, they have different size axles depending on which side you put it. I grabbed two out of my parts bin, not thinking. Put one in the driver's side. It was too short, so it did break. We'll be swapping that out in this video, and maybe we'll do some intercooler mounting. I'm gonna drop it off later in this video to have the intercooler piping welded up. My good buddy David's gonna do that. So I got the parts for it, some more parts inside, but as far as the update goes, we got most of the interior back together. I'm not gonna do rear seats. I'm probably gonna, find some sheet metal and cut it and then make it look nice, like a rear seat delete, to cover the holes and everything back here, and just make it look cleaner. The front, I deleted the push button panel that was in there to start the car. I do have a push button for my electric fans, and I'm gonna have the power steering, the electric power steering pump wired to that, but everything else is complete. We start the car off the key now. That will initiate ignition 1, ignition 2, and the starter. I have the headlights wired to the factory switch. Don't mind this, I'm going to adjust that, but the actual knob that is supposed to be there is broken, so I just took a guitar, bass, whatever you want to call it, like tuning thing, and made it work for now. The blinkers work off of the factory switch, it's just not bolted in. Gas pedal is in and bolted. I am going to make adjustments on that. It is a little bit too far to the right for my liking. I want it to be a little closer to the brake pedal, but for now we'll work to get it onto the tow rig. I'll go to the other side of the car and I'll show you the ECU and the wiring that I have done. All right, so coming over here to this side of the vehicle, you'll see the wiring. I know it looks kind of messy. I did the best I could. It's my first time wiring anything, so it is what it is. Everything, for the most part, has a nice wiring loom on it. I have two separate relay boxes. I labeled everything on this one. This one is for, it's going to be running lights, and I'm going to put the electric power steering pump on this one. And then if I decide, like, I don't know, I want to put underglow or something, there's like 5 more relays in here that can be used. This, I don't know if I showed this. This is the Luffy X7. It's pretty useful in a modern swap. You can buy something like this for like $200, or you can buy like the older models that are cheaper. But this one actually plugs right into your OBD2 port, and it will display your miles per hour, your RPMs, pretty much everything. You can cycle through it. I can do a more detailed video on that once the car's running and driving and stuff. But let's get to work. All right, so as you can see, this is not good. Luckily, I wasn't driving fast or doing a burnout or high RPM movement, because this grease in here will make a mess on everything. As you can see, it got up on my fuel line. It's just nasty. It makes changing axles after just a nasty job. So I'm gonna change this out. I have another one. I'll record that, and then maybe we'll change the fuel line. This one is leaking right here. I've tried to tighten it. I've tried a couple different things. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, so I'm just going to replace it with some new line and new connections. So maybe we'll do that in this video. It's not really that big of a deal. I'm not driving it. I'm just gonna load it on the trailer, but let's get to it. All right, so the bolts are 13s, so you got one on each side. Can't get this one on. 6-bolt axles. Jesus. Yes, so these are S13, R32, I think it's like J30, 6-bolt axles. So pretty common, but not super easy to find today. So eventually I'm going to do the, I believe it's like TF Works. They sell an adapter where you weld it to the ears of your diff. You cut off these 6-bolt ones and you weld their adapter onto their, or onto your diff flange. And then you can run 350Z axles in your S13, R32, S14. So that's the plan. All right, now that we got those bolts out, wheel off, take the axle nut off. Leave that right here. Now we gotta go to my shed and my spare subframe and steal the axle. Because I don't want to play guessing games on which one I have in my bin. I got like 3 more axles in the bin, but I'd rather just get it right the first time. All right, so a little bit of a sidetrack here. I was removing the axle, and then I noticed my fuel lines come right here. So when the axle broke, even though I wasn't going fast, I did get oil and grease, or grease from the axle on my fuel line. And as I'm cleaning it, I'm like, that's probably not good. So I know it's self-tapped. It is what it is. I don't have much room to work right here. So I made this little shield to hold the fuel lines up. So I just got to disconnect a couple of the grommets and then I can put it over, and that should protect it for the most part. It will tuck it up nice, and then it'll be kind of out of the way. I can put another grommet up there to keep it really pulled back on that. So I don't know. That's what I came up with just to protect the axle. Now I think I'm going to replace this fuel line just because it is leaking, and I'd rather do it now without the axle in the way. It'll be easier to route it. Yeah, so let's watch that. Going the wrong way. Yeah, I was going the wrong way. All right, get some stuff out of the way. Excuse the appearance of the trunk. I haven't really put much work into this yet. I did cut an access hole so that I could do the AN fittings. So all right, so this hose, for some reason, was leaking right here. I cut it off and retried it. I honestly don't know if I did something wrong. I've never made AN lines before. The feed is good. This one is good. Red Horse Performance, they are very good quality products. The other hose is Red Horse. The local parts store though, I ordered Red Horse. They gave me, I don't even know what brand this is. And I don't know what brand this is. They said it was just as good. However, this one leaks. So we're gonna swap that out. I did buy 2 more brand new Red Horse connectors. I do not have Red Horse hose though. I do have extra of this. It is PTFE. I plan to run E85. So let's measure and cut. All right, so I have the line in my ghetto vise here, just so that it doesn't move on me when I'm trying to cut it. I already fed the connectors through to make it much easier, and then I also electrical taped it so that the end doesn't spray like that. This end was cut before I had tape on it, so I took advantage of that and already fed the connectors on. The other side will go in, and this will clamp them together. Alrighty, let's do it. Alright, so now what you do is you take this part and you insert it around the plastic Pt.5 line, making sure that it goes all the way down. Then you take this end and you slide it up inside, again making sure that you're on the Pt.5 line. Then you take this one, make sure you're in frame here, and you insert it inside the Pt.5 and you slide this over and you just tighten it. Pretty simple. And that flare fitting in there expands the plastic Pt.5 around the fitting to hopefully not leak. So I'll show you that again. You take this little fitting, you insert it around the plastic Pt.5. You can remove the electrical tape after you cut it. I just marked it with electrical tape and left it because it's supposed to prevent it from fraying, which it did. But if you don't put the fitting on first, then you're going to be fighting that metal fraying in order to get your first fitting on, which, like I said, I already put it on, so it's not a big deal for me. So you just slip that in there, make sure it's good to go, nice and pressed in on there. Then you take this one and you put it right in the middle, and it should expand that, and then you tighten it. Hopefully this fixes the leak. It would really suck to have to come back and do this again, but I'm gonna tighten these off camera and then we'll get back to it. All right, so we're back onto the car. We got our fuel line that we just made. And we're gonna hope it doesn't leak, right? That's what we want. Just gonna feed it through. Very nice. Come over here. Right up. Should be perfect length. Oh, you don't want that, you know? All right. Now you tighten it. Should have 2 AN wrenches, but I don't. So I believe this is a 17. Perfect. I will tighten the one in the trunk to the fuel tank, and then I'll show you when it's all good, and I'll just run the car, see if the return line leaks. All right, guys. I've had the fuel pump on for a few minutes now. I don't see any leaks, which is a good thing. The other one wasn't bad, it would just drip after a little bit. But this one, I don't smell gas on it. The other one you can smell gas really bad. And if you ran your hand along this, it would get wet. I don't see any wetness. I don't smell any fuel. These other lines are good. Like I said, I already ran those. So now I'm just gonna clean this up. I'm gonna tuck that up behind that shield that I made. I'm gonna install the axle and we should be good to go. All right guys, I got the new axle in. This one fits way better. The other one was a little bit loose. I should have noticed that right off the bat. Again, I was rushing. No big deal, no harm, no foul. This one is replaced. Like I said, I have a couple more OEM R32 axles, or S13 R32, that I'm going to go through. But once I go through those, or maybe a little later on down the line, once I recover some money after the fab work that I'm doing to this car, I will buy the adapters to run 350Z axles. I'm gonna bolt this back in. You probably don't want to watch that, it's just bolts. So I'll skip to when it's done, and then I'll be loading this onto my flatbed tow truck and I'll record that. All right, so I know it's ghetto, but some angle iron to the top of the intercooler, and then to the top of the radiator support. It's just roughed up right now. Probably gonna have to clearance this. No big deal. Should be pretty good, unless the guy that I'm dropping it off to can fabricate something from the bottom to sit on that so that it keeps it away from this and doesn't wear a hole into the side here. So now I'm gonna load it onto the truck and we'll head off to the fab shop. Alrighty, here we go. I put the windows up because we're gonna be driving on the highway, but here goes nothing. All right, and with that, we are loaded up, ready to head out. I went to eat dinner first, but we're driving about an hour now. This is my 1996 Isuzu Elf, imported from Japan. 6-speed manual, slow as all hell. Plan to put a turbo on it eventually, but let's get to it. All right, we're about halfway there. Just gonna give you a little update. Beautiful day out here in the spring. Gonna get some fuel for the tow truck. Diesel is rather expensive nowadays. This is actually pretty cheap compared to where I live. Yeah, so let's get some fuel and get back on the road. All right, and with that, the car is dropped off at the shop. Sitting pretty. It's gonna have the intercooler welded up, so I will post another video when I come pick it up, and then I'll show you the work.